All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to wait a few more minutes and let folks log on. So I'll give a couple more minutes and then we'll go ahead and start. All right. Looks like we have quite a few of our commissioners on. So good evening, everyone. We have come to the end of a very long process on behalf of this community. And I'm very, very happy to be having this meeting and this discussion tonight to, put this, get this report out to the public and really, move on and allow the city and the community to move on with the work that they need to do regarding police reform. There are, before we get to the public comments, I want to offer a few special folks to really make a couple comments. I've asked a few people to speak tonight at the onset of the meeting, people that have been very involved in this process, following along. And I thought it would be good to offer some opening remarks to us. First up, I'm wondering.
Oliver, can I interrupt for a second, Oliver? We need to get the interpreters to give their introductions.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead, Gavin. Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, interpreters, introduce yourselves and explain to people how they find you.
Thank you so much. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Esta junta del Comité de Reforma Policial está siendo traducida a español. Para poder ingresar a los servicios, presione el icono del mundo que aparece en su pantalla, ponga el lenguaje de español y ponga en modo silencio el audio original. Muchas gracias.
Nhớ xong trong sẽ tại tao này sẽ là cú giờ tụi mong trả lời tao này nó cũng nên bây giờ lo của mới xong do hai tiếng lên thì sao tông cả có biết trả lời mong thằng nên cái đó họ Chinese channel nên mà li nó cho lùa bây giờ chạy mà nó nhớ đâu họ police reform ở trong đó.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gavin. Thank you, Gavin, for the reminder. First up, I'm going to ask I'm pretty sure I saw our council president on the line today, Miguel Arias, Council President Miguel Arias, and I'd asked him if he wouldn't mind making a couple of remarks just about this effort and comment on the city's commitment to some of the recommendations. Miguel, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you all. Council, you may want to have us pray before he speaks.
I always pray before he speaks. Don't worry.
With that, would our pastor like to lead us in prayer?
The moment he said you were talking next, bro, I went in already. Jesus is here. He's here.
All right. Well, I won't pray on the condition that Jerry doesn't cry today. So I think we'll be okay. We can do those two things. But with all sincerity, guys and ladies, thank you for the time that you've committed to this work. I know we put you under quite a bit of pressure and stress Part of me just wishes that, you know, we could have done a little more pressure and stress on you guys so you guys can feel what 2020 feels like for the council. But, you know, you guys have produced a really good document, some solid recommendations. And I want you to know that from the council, we not only thank you, but we have been preparing on a parallel path to make sure that we can fund some of these recommendations. So this morning, the council officially passed its $1.5 billion budget, and we took into consideration a lot of the recommendations that you guys have been identified preliminarily to make sure that we can actually move on them as early as January of next year. With that, the council did allocate $1 million towards as a down payment to start implementing some of these recommendations. We also identified some additional resources to start making the transitions in some of the areas that you all identified. So again, thank you. The council thanks you. And I will be asking the chair and the co-chair to jointly present the full recommendations to the council as soon as next Thursday. And if you need a little more time, maybe the meeting after that, but we would like a full presentation from the council for the council so that the council can adopt the recommendations and begin the process of implementing these recommendations. So Oliver, thank you. I know it was a surprise when I called you, but you stepped up and I know it wasn't easy. Sandra, thank you for making sure Oliver stayed organized and, you know, and humble and honest in this difficult work. And thank you to the rest of the commissioners for really having difficult conversations that were necessary. Yesterday, you know, Mayor-elect Dyer and 5 of my council colleagues and I met with the youth of this city around gun violence, crime. And it was, as I told my council colleagues today, it was a very difficult experience for me. These past few months, I've ignored my own kids to try and deal with the, you know, demands of this job. But it's clear to me that for the last 2 decades, Fresno has ignored its youth. And we need to put the youth and young people back at the forefront of everything we do. And I know some of these recommendations will allow us to now think of public safety, not just from a response by police, but from a position of prevention, intervention, and building a healthier city for everyone. Because ultimately, policing in America, policing in California and in Fresno, it's about the people choosing and selecting the kind of policing that they want and the kind of policing that makes everyone feel safe, not just a handful of folks. So thank you for the time and the commitment. And I know with the mayor like Dyer and I, we've already had conversations late last night on which ones we're gonna take on first and how fast we're gonna move. And you have my word that I will keep Jerry Dyer honest and that we will move faster than we're all comfortable moving, because it's only in that way that we honor the work that you all did and the conversations you had, but more importantly, the depth of knowledge and sincerity that you guys have all contributed towards this work. So again, Oliver, thank you. Sandra, and to all the commissioners, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Council President. And I'm glad, I wanted to start the conversation with you. And I appreciate you saying that because you had already conveyed to me the commitment that the council was going to have behind this, and not only just including in words, but also obviously in appropriations. So I felt like you being able to convey that to the commissioners so that they know that their work was not in vain was important to start this meeting off. So thank you, Council President, for conveying that. I next want to turn to our esteemed Congressman Jim Costa. Jim Costa in his office has been following this work since the very beginning. I probably get a call from his office or him weekly, just asking for the updates. While he hasn't been involved directly in the meetings, he's been very engaged. He's been very engaged behind the scenes. And so I was able to share a copy of the report with him in his office. And he asked if he could just offer a few comments from his perspective on behalf of the work that we've done. So Congressman, I believe you're on. The floor is yours. Oh, maybe we lost him. I see him logged on, but we'll move right along. So, because there's still a couple other people that I want to have weigh in. And
I'm unmuted now.
oh, okay, there you go. All right, Congressman, go ahead.
I know some of you like to be able to mute a congressman, but sometimes we get unmuted. Let me thank you, my friend Oliver Baines and the Fresno Commission on Police Reform, the Fresno City Council, our current mayor, and the incoming mayor-elect, Jerry Dyer, for all of your hard work over the last 5 months. And it's been hard work and not easy given the challenges that we're facing. I've spoken to a number of you over that time, and you've told me the effort and the patience and the deliberation with your subcommittees in forming these recommendations before us. As Oliver indicated, we've kept updated weekly. I've had many conversations with him and some with Jerry Dyer and some of the rest of you about the progress that has been made. I think this document provides an opportunity, and with the effort that the Fresno City Council has made with its leadership and the current mayor, I think we are on the road to making much important needed changes. We passed the Police Reform Act in the Congress this last summer. It was unfortunate that we were unable to reach an agreement with the Senate, with Senator Scott's proposal, but I do believe in the next Congress, we will come together on a bipartisan act that will provide support around the country to help you at the federal level with additional funds to enact some of the meaningful, I think, changes that can make a difference. We had a similar commission in Merced that made its report last month. This is going on throughout the country. And I think it's a reflection of the community's desire to have the kind of community-based policing that reflects our needs. In my conversation with Jerry Dyer, we talked about the 1990s and the efforts that were taken then with President Clinton on community-based policing, the Police Activities League, the efforts that really reached out in meaningful ways. And I think this report reflects the desire to make those kinds of changes. But you need support at the federal level and at the state level. And I commit to the Fresno Commission on Police Reform, to the Fresno City Council, to not only Lee Brand, but to the incoming mayor, Jerry Dyer, who I've worked with for years, that we can make meaningful changes that reflect the needs of certain neighborhoods where too often they have felt left behind. Too often they felt that, as we know, too much of the challenges faced in neighborhoods where a lot of crime activity takes place. And so the ability to implement many of these reforms with our police department as a partner, I think, is how we make the changes necessary that will not only the needs of Fresno, but set an example around the state and around the nation. So let me close by just saying thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. In the next Congress, I will do my part to try to provide you the support at the federal level to help implement some of these meaningful changes. And in the process, work with all of you in ways that can make all of our neighborhoods feel that they're a part of the Fresno that we're all very proud of. And if we do that, we'll make a big difference. Oliver Baines, my friend, thank you for your leadership. Thank the commission. Keep up the good work. Be safe. And I hope none of you forget to vote, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. We always appreciate your leadership and your engagement with our community. So thank you for making some time. I know you're on a busy schedule. Thank you for making some time to share your thoughts with us. We really, really appreciate it. Next, I want to invite to speak Really, in many respects, a young woman whose efforts in Fresno started this work for us. You know, while there's definitely a national conversation going on with policing in communities and how to strengthen those relationships, locally, you all remember that we had the Fresno State NAACP organized what is, in most people's recollection, probably the largest peaceful protest in the city's history. And it spoke to the character of our community. It spoke to who we are as Fresnans and made me proud. I know that a number of you have also shared that same pride at the way our community handled some of the unrest that was going on across the nation. And we have one of the people we have to thank for that especially is DeAngelique Jackson, who organized our community's protest. So I felt like it was only fair, two occasions, two reasons, to offer her an opportunity to speak. One, because it was her efforts that really caused the city council to move in this direction. And two, because she's one of our young leaders. And if it's one thing that I believe strongly in is in making sure that we do everything to support our young leadership. So I asked DeAngelique to make a couple of remarks and just give us her thoughts on this process and from where it started with her organizing the march all the way to this moment here. So DeAngelique, the floor is yours.
Hey everybody, got my vote shirt on, so I hope you voted already. If not, the polls close November 3rd and you can still register to vote if you forgot to do so, because we have conditional voter registration in our state. So with that, I personally prepared a letter and I took time on it because I just wanted to make sure you could all understand where I was coming from. So I'm going to read it and yeah, let me know what you think about it, either offline or if we have time during the meeting. So good evening. I would like to start by commending each of you for your dedication and hard work over the last 4 months. It has been an honor to serve alongside of you, and I am grateful for the opportunities to have been involved in our conversations to move our city forward in a positive way. It is important to recognize what brought us to this task, the pain and perseverance of a group of young organizers, each affected by gun violence and police brutality in their own ways. Little did we realize the work would progress to the point where we are today. Initially, we were pleased to hear the city announce the establishment of this commission. Even so, none of us imagined the scope and potential impact this would have. As a liaison for that initial group of organizers and as the president for the Fresno State chapter of the NAACP, I want you to know how much this process and list of recommendations we have arrived at means to us. We are dealing with life and death matters, and this work impacts the lives of those affected by gun violence and police brutality. I know that this has been a challenge for all of us, volunteering precious time to be a part of this, sacrificing our sleep schedules, meals, and more importantly, valuable time with our loved ones. I recognize the challenges of working alongside others who may have completely different ideologies, perspective, and realities of our own. However, this experience has brought not only the 37 individuals who make up this commission closer, but the city of Fresno as a whole. We have had to work with researchers, city staff, and most importantly, our community to understand and reimagine public safety in our neighborhoods. To say the least, this has been an eye-opening experience. As a chair for the Community Input Subcommittee, I can be honest and say that I came into this commission ignited by the pains of my community and by my own experiences. I came ready for radical change. However, this journey has taught me that radical and progressive are not the same thing. I want to create a Fresno that serves every citizen in the way they need, a city of equity. This process has shown me that this community does not want to abolish the police, but they want to establish policing, the policing tactics that hurt them rather than serve them. In our final report, you will each find statistics that demonstrate the community's belief in our police department's ability to provide their services at the highest level. For example, from our telephone survey, we found that 60% of residents believe the Fresno police officers are fair, while 40% believe the police officers have racial or ethnic prejudice. In addition, we found that nearly 60% of residents believe they should have more say in how the police department's budget is spent. 67% believe we should reduce police officers' responsibilities as first responders to matters relating to homelessness, substance abuse, and the mentally ill. 74% believe we spend too little on support for our low-income individuals and families, but also believe we are spending too little on law enforcement to fight crime and make our neighborhoods safer. As the composition of this commission shows us, one person or one group will not be able to solve our community's problems, and neither can the city do it on its own. Fixing our future is on all of us, and facilitating more interaction between City Hall and community members and involving more residents in the decision-making processes of our city will go a long way to restoring transparency and trust on all sides. The commission has done its job and prepared a list of recommendations. The city will now have the opportunity to review our work and determine how best to implement them. But it remains on us to ensure that our work is considered and implemented in the ways ultimately to improve the lives of all of our residents and for each of us. So with that, I once again would like to thank you for your work and for this opportunity, and I wish you all well. That's it.
Thank you, DeAngelique. Well said. Could not have said it better. Could not have said it better. Thank you. Thank you for those words. That's Fresno's future. It's why we're all proud. So before we move on to our public comment, I wanted to wrap up this our opening comments by asking our future mayor to offer his insights and thoughts into this process. He's been engaged and been at every general commission meeting. I think you may have even attended a couple of the subcommittee meetings. And I know him and I have talked through the extent of this process about his passion and dedication for serving all Fresno and for doing the best he can to work to bridge the gap between this community and law enforcement. Jerry, I appreciate your involvement, and I just wanted to offer you an opportunity to make a couple of comments as well.
Well, thank you, Oliver, very much. And let me start out by complimenting DeAngelique. I have seen you grow tremendously over this period of time since you first coordinated the march until today. And I mean that. And you and I have had a lot of conversations together and had the opportunity to, you, me, and Oliver and your brother to go to dinner. And I just want you to know I've grown fond of you. And you are a force to be reckoned with in our community. And I do hope you stay here after you graduate from Fresno State. I hope you stay here and you become a proud part of Fresno. So just wanted to offer that to you. And Oliver, to you, I want to say a special thanks to you. You have done a remarkable job of being able to bring forth a lot of diverse opinions and to be able to oversee a product that is outstanding. And I know you could not have done it without Sandra by your side. And so, Sandra, thank you for all of your work. I know at times you and I, can go at it a little bit, but because we're both passionate. But I also know that you love this city just as much as I do, and so I want to say thank you for that. And it's been a tremendous commitment on the part of all the commissioners, and I just want to say thank you to all of you. I know at times the commission meetings and the subcommittee meetings have been intense, have been very heated at times, the debates and so forth. And from my perspective, what that shows is it just clearly demonstrates how important this work is to all of us, to our community, and really how passionate all of you are about Fresno. And in terms of the final report, I thought it was very, very comprehensive. I've had an opportunity to read through it twice now. It was well done. Even though some of the recommendations, as you and I talked earlier today, Oliver, may need some further refining or clarification. I think it was a well done report. On a personal note, as we discussed today, Oliver, I kind of wish there would have been a few more highlights in terms of successes of the department in that report, because I do know there's many, and I think that would have gone a long way to encourage the officers out there. But I do know that wasn't the intent of this report. It was about police reform. So and I know it hit the mark there. You know, most of you on the commission know that I've been on a listening and learning tour over the last several months, doing a lot of reading, meeting with folks, and really for the purpose of gaining all of your perspectives. And many of the folks on the commission I met with as well. You know, last night, as Miguel said earlier, I had the opportunity to hear directly from our youth who shared for nearly 3 hours from their heart what they needed from us as a community. And it was very powerful. It was very enlightening. There was no blame. It was all solution oriented. And they weren't asking for the world. They weren't asking for the simple things in life. And Miguel is right. It's shameful that we have not done the things that we need to do for our youth, but we will. And that is my commitment as a future mayor. And so all of this has really helped to shape my vision and priorities that I have for this community. And honestly, has helped to shape my perspective and to give me a more balanced perspective. And so, and I believe that all of us need that from time to time. We need to balance our perspective and to be able to see through the eyes of others. The commission meetings, you know, although painful at times, allowed me to view things from a different set of eyes. And that is extremely important to me as the mayor. And I'll say from the first meeting, when Sandra said, got us to shy away from using the word community policing, or that was a direction we wanted to go to simply community safety. I have to tell you, I was a little bit resistant to that, but today I understand it totally. I understand that is our overall intent is community safety. You know, I just want to reiterate to all of you as I close this that I'm committed to working with the council, to the police department, to the Fresno Police Officers Association as we collectively implement as many of these reforms as we possibly can, or at least within my authority. And I said from the onset that as the recommendations are brought forth, we're going to implement all that we can as long as they are financially and legally feasible, serve the overall interests of this community, and do not compromise the safety of our residents or the officers. And so I think, I really do. I think the recommendations were spot on. So I just want to commend everybody for that. And I know a lot of work has been done, but the real work is getting ready to be done as we implement this process. So again, thank you, everybody. It's an honor to serve you.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I felt it was important to end the opening remarks with you because we started with the council. I think it's important for the commissioners and the public to hear that there's continuity between the council and the incoming administration regarding the work that was done here. So I really thank you for expressing your opinions and your thoughts and sharing this with the commission and the public tonight, Mr. Mayor. And we certainly look forward to working with you.
Let me say thank you to Miguel and Luis and Esmeralda. This was honestly their brainchild. And so to come forth with this at a time when we needed it, I just want to give you guys your honor in putting this together. So thank you, and thank you for letting me be a part of it.
You got it. All right, we're gonna move into the general public comment now. And so as always, we allow the public to comment in these meetings. And if you're on the Zoom and you're a member of the public and you want to speak, please raise your hand. I think there's a hand raise feature on there, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. And first up, we have Brandy News Villegas.
Hi, I have 2 quick thoughts I wanted to share. One is I want to make sure you guys knew that on the event page on your website, there is a fantastic link to register. So I registered a while ago, but on the agenda, I looked up the agenda to share with people, and the link on the agenda is not correct for this meeting. So I thought I'd make sure that let you guys know. And if anyone's on here and is trying to figure out how to get on the meeting, I know that they can access that by going to fresno-cpr.com /events, and you might want to repeat that just so in case anyone went on the agenda and tried to use a link there and was unsuccessful. I want to make sure you guys knew that. My other comment is I just want to thank you guys for all this hard work, for the tremendous amount of work that went on there. I want to particularly also thank D'Angelique for her leadership and all the hard work she's done. I appreciated her speaking at City Council and all the other times she has been taking leadership, the inclusion of our homeless community in the surveys, and the ways that you guys have worked to include the as much as the community as possible. I really appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you to everyone on this commission for the months of work that you've been doing on this report and on these recommendations. And thank you guys, and also Miguel, because you're also doing the budget and this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next we have Jerry Bill.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak. And thank you to the commission for all the hard work that you have done. And thank you to Angelique for getting this whole thing rolling. So I'm glad to see that it's bearing some fruit. My particular interest is in police oversight. And so I'm interested in, I was interested in the recommendations you had on that. I've read through all of them. And the Civilian Oversight Board is desperately needed. We need some way to keep the sort of the police auditor's feet to the fire, somebody watching the police auditor to see that he's doing his job properly. The Civilian Oversight Board could be the entity that does that. So I thank you for coming up with that, and many communities use that and use it successfully. And it's one of the things recommended by the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. Now, my only caveat about the Civilian Oversight Board is I'm not sure if it's right to have all the members appointed by the mayor. It might make more sense to me to have different ones appointed by members of city council or whatever, to guarantee a little more diversity in there. Perhaps that will happen anyway, I don't know. But that was sort of a red flag to me as I was reading through that. Too much power in the hands of one person there. I do urge the board to submit all of these recommendations to the city council, and to keep the pressure on the city council to adopt them and implement them, because the work of producing the recommendations is done, but the work of getting them implemented is not done yet. And we're going to have to stay on that and keep the pressure on the city council until all of this is done. And so there's a long road ahead. But anyway, congratulations on getting as much done as you did. That was more than I expected you would be able to do, and so I'm very pleased. So thank you all very much, and I'll finish with that.
Thank you. Next we have, I don't normally do this, but next is my good friend, Gregory Barfield, and it's a pleasure to have you call in today, my friend. The floor is yours. I think we have to unmute him. Can we unmute?
He has to unmute himself.
Oh, Greg, you're muted.
Zoom has asked him a couple of times to unmute, so perhaps he stepped away.
Oh, okay. Then we will, can we keep his hand? Can I come back to him in case he stepped away?
You can do anything you want, Oliver, you bet.
We'll move on to Tanya Pacheco Warner and see if we get Greg next time.
Oh, here I am.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like,
you muted again.
All right, there we go. I've been on the other computer all day, so I'm trying to use the new one. Again, hey, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for all your hard work and effort. I have listened in to the last two meetings, and I know this has been a tough journey. I know that Oliver, you have talked about some of these things while you were in office. You made us read some books. that are still on the shelf over there. But again, I just want to say thank you for moving the community forward and starting with you, DeAngelique, and getting things going in the councils of today. There's one concern, official concern, as the Director of Transportation, I just want to bring to your attention. It's your recommendation number 11. It is the FACTS Fresno Area Express unit. As you may know, we have over $75 million worth of equipment on the streets every day. We carry over 10,500,000 passengers in a non-COVID year. And the 270 plus drivers, I'm very worried about not having this unit, which also does patrol at all times. So they not only respond to fax calls, but they also respond to patrol calls. Last year, we had just under 10 severe incidents with drivers, where one was whipped with a cane and caused a great deal of blood and confusion to him, where he was out for many months. And I just can't have that happen with the folks that we not only are entrusted with carrying on our routes, but more importantly, those drivers and supervisors who are operating. So I want you to take a look at that one item. That's $2 million out of our budget that we fund those officers fully, but yet they still do patrol. And I think that's very important. We believe very strongly about this, and just wanted to lay that on your hearts and minds. Again, thank you everyone for your hard work.
Thank you, Greg. Next, we have Tanya Pacheco Warner.
Hi, yes, thank you so much to the entire committee for all of your hard work. This is an amazing document to see. I just want to comment that as you seek to do implementation, that we really have to have our imaginations work together to see that the implementation isn't deemed feasible or unfeasible based on the current limits of what is in the books, of what is in contracts, what is in so if things need to be renegotiated, if codes need to be changed, the implementation doesn't get stopped for something that's not there when it can be created. And thank you so much for your work and your time.
Thank you, Tanya. All right, and that is the last public comment we have. So we'll move on to the balance of our meeting. And what I'd like to do, obviously, all the commissioners, I'm assuming you all have had an opportunity to read the report. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you all, if you want, and this, you don't have to do this, but I want to extend it to you. It's been a long process and at times very heated, but ultimately we came together and presented a document that I think we can be proud of to the city. And I know a lot of you feel strongly and passionately about these issues. And I just wanted to give you as individual commission members an opportunity to talk about your experience if you want. If you felt like that you wanted to make some closing remarks, I wanted to extend that to you. I would ask, very respectfully ask, because there are 39 of us or so, I would respectfully ask that you limit your comments to 2 minutes. And I'm only going to allow you to speak one time. Okay, so this isn't a night for debating. This is really a night to offer, your final thoughts on this product, and then we'll take a vote. So if you raise your hand on the screen, I'll be able to see you, and then I'll call on you in order if you choose to make final remarks. First up, I have Keisha Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Baines. Let me just say that this has been quite an experience, but one I would never want to trade. I've learned some things, I've been taught some things, and it has really humbled me in the way that I think about many things where policy is concerned, especially in the school district. So I just want to say that I enjoyed my time doing this. It was hard work. It was probably some of the most strenuous work I've ever done in my life. But the fact that we were able to bring forth all these wonderful things, just thank you. And I think Miguel, I think our mayor-elect, I think our Lee, I thank the council, I thank everyone, because without you all coming together to make this happen, it would have never happened. And I most importantly want to thank my development committee, because we worked hard, we cried, we fought, but at the end of the day, we all saw how each other felt. So thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Keisha. Well, this is going to be a quick meeting. I love it. So I don't see any other hands raised. Oh, I see Robert. Okay, now I see Judge Oliver. You're waving your hand. Now I want to really encourage people to use the hand wave feature, because I can only see a few of you at one time. So Judge Oliver, I saw you go like that. So you're up next, my friend.
Oliver, we're namesake related, and I'm a Luddite, so I did well to raise my hand. I would like to echo what was said. We came together. This group may be criticized by all sides of the spectrum for many things. We cannot be criticized for the diversity that is obvious, but more importantly, the diversity of thought and life perspectives that we bring to this task. The 73 recommendations cleared by a majority speaks volumes. I would like to comment on two things that DeAngelique, who has grown, at least in my estimation, has been mentioned by Mayor-elect Jerry, from a radical to a progressive. In my book, that is a very positive evolution. But more importantly, what Jerry said last evening when he and others met with the youth of this town: no blame, solution oriented. There was a lot in this report, anecdotally and historically, that was important and critical, but it will not help us one bit going forward if we will decide that we will look for solutions and we will be listeners, not just hearing, but listening and absorbing, as all of our commission members did in our subcommittee groups. I think this indeed can be really a new and positive day. And Oliver, I appreciate your patience as I would share with you my very frank and candid thoughts over the last few months. Thank you very much.
All right. I see Sabrina Kelly's hand is raised.
Okay, how do I raise my hand?
Who said that? I'm sorry.
This is Sabrina.
Okay, the floor is yours, Sabrina.
Yeah, and I just want to echo some of the thoughts that have taken place, and also to let the community members know and others who are listening know that this process was very humbling. And what I really appreciated about the work was that it was culturally inclusive. It took a lot of, letting go of props and appendages for our egos, and listening critically and considering different perspectives, and also considering research and evaluating current trends and discovering what might work in our city, and putting the beloved community, the city, before ideologies and budgets, and seeing what could be possible. This has truly been, in my perspective and from my experience, an equitable process that's been participatory. So we've had not only primary and secondary research that we gathered, the primary data that was gathered by DeAngelique's team was pivotal into helping us really understand community sentiment and community-based priorities. So, there is an old adage that says friends are born in adversity. And I feel like I have a great set of friends, of thought partners, of community leaders. I'm so proud to be among you all. This dignity-infused process really helped us come together as a community, and I'm excited to see what's next. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Scott, I see you waving your hand. Okay, you got to my screen. Okay.
All right. Am I up? 2 minutes?
Go right ahead.
All right. I just wanted to share my own experience with this, then that after the George Floyd killing, I shut down and I really just did not know how to talk to people, especially Black people. I didn't know what to do. And I heard about this march in Fresno, and my daughter was going and she told me about it and other people told me about it, and I went. And that day I saw that there was something different happening in Fresno that I'd never seen before, with that many people marching together downtown, and different from what I was seeing in the national news all over our country. And then when I heard about this commission and the privilege of being invited to be a part of it, with the transition of police chiefs and mayors in Fresno right now, and a commitment from the city council and the community to make change, I just think this has been an awesome experience, and it's an awesome opportunity for Fresno to have a better community. And I've spoken to most of you through this process. Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with all of this. And I learned somebody, thank you.
Thanks, Scott. All right, next up, I have Simon Diesel.
Just wanted to take a moment to recognize the consultants that worked with us, and after looking at the finished product and knowing what it looked like before, grateful for the professionals who made us look polished. So thank you, and specifically to Dr. Andrew Jones, who worked tirelessly and led on many times. I'm very grateful and honored to work with them, obviously, as well as everybody else. I totally get what Scott is saying of the honor and the privilege to have worked alongside you all, and looking forward to continued work moving forward.
Thank you, Simon. Next, we have Randy Cooper.
Yes, Simon kind of stole my thunder. I want to thank Fresno State for all the hard work they put in, especially Dr. Jones. Many a night he sat there with us 2 or 3 days a week, as we discussed these different issues. But my really heartfelt thanks goes out to the community of Fresno. I mean, the people were transparent. They took the time to answer our questions truthfully, and it really showed just how much they care about the city and the police department and the service they receive. But there's one last thing I want to leave you with, Oliver. I told you this before. The people want to see something happen. They want to see their input answered. They said there have been other surveys and things done in the city, and they never heard a response and never saw anything done. So it's really incumbent upon us. And I'm really thanking Miguel for saying they put $1 million aside to get started right away. I think that's going to be really pivotal with the community to see that all of their transparency and all of our hard work is going to have an impact on this city, and something change is going to happen. So thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Next, we have Hanover Islands.
Thank you, Chair Baines. I'm a public health educator, and I care deeply about Fresno. And I do feel very honored to have been invited to be part of this. I feel particularly elated about all of the progressive policies that are moving forward, because I think what they are demonstrative of is a reimagining of how we operate safety and improve our community. And I think that while there were a lot of comments about Angelique's growth, I would say to her that you are a leader, period, before you even came into this commission, right? And so that we're lucky as a community to have you. But I would also commend the traditionalists who moved, right? That we were able to have conversations with abolitionists and reformists, but really who should be applauded are some of those traditionalists who are a little bit more ensconced in their ideas, who also progressed, right? Who also grew with us. And I think, that is the beauty of having this dialogue, and civility and respect for each other is hearing each other out. So I think that is one thing that was a tremendous success of our work together. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Gloria Hernandez.
this has been a long time for me waiting for this. When we started trying to get civilian oversight back in the 90s, late 90s, we were told we were crazy. This is what I dreamed about. And I put up a hard fight in our committee for this. And I think that we've come a long way. I think that people listen. I wish they would have been listening 25 years ago and we wouldn't have had so many stolen lives, but here we are. I want to thank the research team that hasn't been mentioned, and that's the team that wrote up a lot of the policies that we discussed in our subcommittee, and that's Felicia Espinosa and Catherine Forbes and Brianna from Barrios Unidos and Tanya. Everybody helped. Behind the scenes, everybody helped, came together and gave us information and research and fact checking. And I think in particular, the committee I work with learned. It was a learning process for everybody. We heard each other, we listened, and we understood, and we grew. We grew as a community closer together. Dee, you haven't grown, you've been grown. Since I saw you the first day, girl, you've been out there, and I'm so proud of you. Mariah, you stuck to it. Mitchell, I am so proud to have sitting at your table because you came around and you understood where we came from. And, you know, Oliver, thank you for guiding us. And Sandra, thank you so much for all the work you did. And the two chairs in our committee, Scott and Ron, opposite part of the world, from public defender to police, we came together and you guys did a good job. The budget committee, I would have never been able to be there, but I'm so proud of the work you guys did. I read the recommendations, I read the report, and you know, I wish Allie Bluestein was alive. She would have appreciated this because we fought so hard 25 years ago, and here we are. So I want to thank you guys. Miguel, thank you for inviting me to this table. I know I gave a bunch of people a hard time, but I'm passionate about this. I'm very passionate, and I'm very thankful that we met at the middle of the table. Aho.
Thank you, Gloria. Next, Mai Tao.
So good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to just thank the young people and all of the organizers behind the march and the protest that initially triggered the council to move forward with officiating this commission. So I really want to honor the folks who were involved in that process, but also want to thank folks like Gloria, right, who have been in this fight for so long, folks who are not able to be on the commission, and folks who have been fighting this long fight for justice and public safety in our communities and throughout the nation. And then want to thank the community members who have been involved in this process, who have given their input either through their survey or participating in our 4-hour meetings in the late evenings, and want to thank all of the commissioners for their time and energy and effort towards this work. This is technically not a thank you, but just an acknowledgement for the city council and the leadership at the city and the staff for simply doing your job, right? Your job is to respond to community needs. And so I do want to acknowledge, so it's a little bit of a different thank you, but just an acknowledgement and also a challenge for you all moving forward to continue to respond to the needs of community members, to every community member in the city of Fresno. And then I really just want to honor that this process has been a little bit clunky, but it's definitely been a great experience for myself. And I think there's a lot of feedback that I won't share now that I would be more than happy to share with, city council members and leadership after we end our final meeting today. And then the last thing that I will say is that there is a lot of work ahead. I want to mention that there is a lot of grassroots efforts, or there are a lot of grassroots efforts that are happening around these particular challenges and issues in our community. And I just want to highlight that there is a lot of other work and research that we can draw upon after today, in addition to the great work that Fresno State contributed to this process. So I just want to highlight Fresno Speaks 2020, which is the first large-scale random sample survey of Fresno registered voters during the COVID-19 era that was put together by the UC Merced Community Labor Center and partners of the Fresno County Civic Engagement Table, where in their survey, they found that 77.9% of advocates, people who took that survey were in support advocating for police reform. And this was reflective in all 7 city council districts throughout the city. So I really want to emphasize that as well. So hopefully this is just the beginning to something bigger and better for our community, for our city, and definitely want to just honor everyone who's been a part of this process. So thank you so much for the time and for the opportunity to be a part of this work moving forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maya. That is the last hand I have raised. Oh, Dr. Fitz, you're on my screen. If you want to talk, if you can do the hand raise feature, that'd be great, because I can't always see everybody. But you're on my screen, Dr. Fitz, so the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to serve with all of you. It was an honor, especially for me, not really having as much experience with policing, to get an opportunity to hear some very eloquent and passionate perspectives from the police themselves. Brother Mitchell and Brother Manning, y'all really said some things that hit home and helped to remind me that police are human as well, and that throughout this process, what we really need more than anything is balance. So I really appreciate you all for counseling me on several issues and helping me to see that, to some degree, we can get lost in trying to pursue too much. But nonetheless, Brother Baines, I want to thank you as well. I do think this was a massive endeavor, multifaceted, lots of moving parts, and as such, I'd have to say, thank you for taking on the task of leading us to the end, because this could have went on for another 6 months. Nonetheless, I thank all of you, everyone that participated on our committee. I can't imagine how much work you all did after going to your primary jobs, and I thank you all for participating in that as well. This is a great effort for our community, and I think it's a great first step moving forward.
Thank you, Dr. Fitz. Rod Wade.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on with Mr. Pitts now. I'm used to being on the other side of the totem pole, going against him, but at the end of the day, Bangs, I work with you too. Cooper's a part of our group, and he always has some back insight from where he worked in San Jose Police Department that gave us a lot of vision on what we was trying to do out here. But the police, though, it's a lot. All of them is not bad. There's some of them that's out here trying to help us and is on the right path. I do something else with Mr. Manning too on the side. And I think the opportunity for all of us on all angles of the spectrum to work together and try to come to a common solution and goal, I think that was big, because a lot of people on my end of the spectrum, from me sharing with them and doing all the surveys and stuff, they feel a part of it. Like, whereas before in past times, it's just like decisions was just made without us. And I want to thank the dudes, Mr. Jones and them, and everybody from Fresno State from their time out and volunteering. He even worked for free. I think we need to buy him some dinner or something. But I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rod. Pastor Kreiner.
Yeah, thank you, bro. First of all, I want to give a kudos to all of my brothers and sisters that have served over these past times. I know it was tough. I know one meeting we went until almost 11 at night, and that probably was the most challenging meeting, but we did it, right? We made it to where we are now. And I just wanted to give a shout out to each of you, and more than that, to give a shout out to your spouses and to your children that gave you the opportunity to just go ahead and have that moment to help our city out and to bring some sort of solution to an ongoing problem that possibly will never be completely solved. Even if policy has changed, there is still that sense of division that is implemented and rooted in the soil of this country, right? So I want to give a shout out to you, Doc. Don't feel like your work is for no good. Don't feel like this moment was wasted. To my little sister, D'Angelique, I know it's already been said, but sis, from the very beginning when I first met you, I knew how powerful you are. And I know how powerful you're going to be. Keep your head strong, stay humble, and don't let the kudos from everybody on here blow you up to the point of thinking that you've arrived. You ain't there yet, sis, but I'm telling you, man, you are further ahead than most of us ever would have ever been at your age. We are proud of you, and you have the whole entire city standing behind you. And to Sandra, I love you, sis. You're an awesome person, but I got to give a major shout out to my brother, Oliver. It takes the right kind of person to take this many people and to keep them together, and to do it in a way that it doesn't seem like you're a dictator, nor does it seem like you're a pushover, but it's right in the middle as a good leader. So we see, D'Angelique, we see the kind of leader that you're going to be when we look at the people on the call. But if we have more leaders like Oliver, man, I think we'd have a better country. So I love you, bro, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm proud of you, dude. I don't know about that jacket you're wearing, but I'm proud of you, bro. I love you, man.
Hey, I like my jacket. John Leal, you're up next, my friend.
So many so much of what I was going to say has been said already. So I'll just say echo to my fellow members on this commission. I have learned and I have grown, and I can tell you honestly.
John, you sound really, really scratchy. I don't know if that's coming across everybody's screen like that. Okay.
Yeah, all of us here, Oliver.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really scratchy.
Mr. Leal, the problem might be that your dual speakers are on, so you might want to turn off one speaker or the other.
Oh. You want to try it again, John? Sound really low. Turn your volume up a little bit. Technology is great until it's not. These moments.
I'll just say thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Trustee. Mr. Trustee. Okay. I believe that's all for now. I don't see any more hands raised in my screen. I will make it a point to flip through the other screens though, just in case somebody does have their hand raised, and I don't see any other hands raised. So what we're going to do now is actually move on to the adoption of the final report. And what this is going to do, just so we're all clear, you all have already voted. So the recommendations, all 73 of them, I believe, have already been voted upon. What we are going to do now is adopt the report to send to the City Council. And this is the final step that we have to do tonight. I'm going to do a roll call vote. I have a list here, so I will call you individually, and we have staff that's actually capturing the vote. And so I, in full transparency, someone called and asked me if they would be allowed the honor and the privilege of making the motion to adopt this report. And I'm going to honor that request at this time. And Judge Oliver, the floor is yours.
Matthew 12:34 says, "For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." The last period of time for this last meeting of this commission has spoke to what the heart is full of every person who has made comments. And I would believe for those that did not. We can make a point or we can make a difference. It is through the crucible of the last few months, it is my humble belief that we are on the cusp of seeking to make a point and beginning to make a difference. We are learning that the stains on our country, past and in the most recent past, hopefully are lessons to be learned and not life sentences. With that, I would move the adoption of the report of our commission.
Thank you, Judge Oliver, and I'll entertain a second.
I'll second that.
All right, Scott, it's been properly motioned second, and now I will actually do the roll call vote. I know that everyone is not, I know I have a couple of commissioners missing, so I will try to avoid the ones that I know that are missing. And then after that, I will make some final comments and we'll all go home. Aaron Foster. Abina Cruz.
Yes.
Adrian Jones.
Yes.
Angie Isaac.
Yes.
Annalisa Perea.
Yes.
Ashley Rojas.
Yes.
Bob Mitchell.
Yes.
Brandon Dixon James. Brandon Dixon James. BT Lewis. DeAngelique Jackson.
Sorry, I'm eating this food being brought. Yes.
Deep Singh.
Yes.
Pastor Kreiner. Ephraim Botello.
Yes.
Gail Gaston. Gail.
Yes.
Oh, great. Gloria Hernandez.
Yes.
Greg Garner.
Yes.
Crisante Valencia.
Yes.
James Pitts.
Yeah, baby. I mean, yes.
John Leal. John Leal. I can.
Mr. Leal, you can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Keisha Thomas.
Yes.
Luisa Medina.
Yes.
Mai Tao.
Yes.
Marcel Woodruff.
Yes.
Mariah Thompson.
Yes.
Mark Salazar.
Yes.
Michael Reed. Pretty sure I saw Michael Reed on here. Oliver Baines, I vote yes. Pam Coronado. Randy Cooper.
Yes.
Was that Pam? Robert Oliver.
Yes.
Rod Wade.
Yes, sir.
Ron Manning.
Are we just taking roll? I just got on here.
We're actually we're actually voting right now, and you're up.
Yeah, I don't know what we're voting on.
To adopt the recommendations and final report.
Yes.
Sabrina Kelly.
Yes.
Sandra Celadon.
Yes.
Scott Bailey.
Yes.
Pastor Simon Biaso.
Yes.
Todd Frazier.
No.
Genevieve Islas.
Yes.
Well, it was almost unanimous. So officially the report has passed and we will expeditiously forward this to the Fresno City Council. As you heard Miguel say, he's going to ask Sandra and I to present this report at council, and we will. So now I'm going to make some closing remarks. I gotta compose myself. So this was an emotional ride for me. For a lot of reasons. I've been worked up all day about this, and I don't usually get to editorialize too much in these meetings. And so this is the first time I'm doing it for the whole process. I got a chance to talk to a couple of you guys earlier today. A few people called me. And I had an opportunity to share what this was for me, how emotional the process was of being a Black man in this country that I love, but have grown up terrified of the police and been have my own bouts of police brutality, and then to actually become a police officer. And to reconcile that within me for this whole process was tough, really tough. A lot of you called me and wanted to understand why we went back through history in this process. And I was insistent on that piece in the report, because I wanted people to understand that as a Black man growing up in America, it's in our DNA to be afraid of the police. I couldn't even look at a police officer when I was a young man from fear of being pulled over or stopped or handcuffed. I would be routinely stopped, searched unjustly for most of my juvenile life, from the time I was 13 or 14 years old, all the way up until I was a young man, growing up in LA. And I moved to Fresno and became a police officer. And I worked with amazing men and women on the police department. You know that, and I learned from the men and women of the Fresno Police Department that there are good police officers. I didn't think there were good police officers until I got here. I learned from Chief Greg Garner about the importance of community policing. And it changed my life as a Black man in this country. And I have to reconcile that, to drudge up those emotions for me going through this process and keep them all bottled in to keep you all together. And you guys are tough. You guys were a tough group. It was hard. But I wanted to tell the truth. And the truth is complicated. The truth isn't black or white. It's not pro-police and anti-police. That's not the truth. And I wanted this report to tell the truth. We didn't get it 100% right. I'll be the first to tell you guys, I know. And I put everything I had into this process, and I know I didn't get it all right. I know that. And for that, I apologize. But this work for this community, on behalf of this community that I love, means a lot to me. And I had to keep it all in this whole time. And I thank you guys for pushing me through this process. I thank you guys for the work that you did on behalf of this community that deserves it. Our community deserves this work. We do. So many times in Fresno, we don't think we deserve stuff. We deserve the best. We deserve the best policing department in the country right here. We deserve it in Fresno. And I wanted to make sure that that came across.
Our police officers, yes, do we need police reform? Yes, we do. We have got to figure this out and bring our community together. We've got to do that. And we got to know that the men and women that are police officers are good people. They serve with honor. Listen, there are some knuckleheads, to be sure. But you got to know that these men and women, they want to serve this community with honor, and we've got to give them a chance to do it. And I think that we started that with this work. They just want a shot. And this community wants to be, they want to be with the police department, and the police department wants to be with the community. You all called and told me that. The emails, the text messages that I got from people wanting to make sure that this community is together and not divided. It brought me to tears. That's what we want here. And I think that we started the process. It's not over. It's far from over, but we started it. And I just appreciate all you guys from the bottom of my heart. The work that you put in, hundreds of hours that you guys committed to this, for this community. This has been one of the most honorable things I've done since I've been in Fresno. And I owe that to you guys. I thank you. And I just wanted to let you know. It took a lot for me to do this. And it was a very tough, emotional, therapeutic process. When Miguel called me, I didn't even know I was depressed after George Floyd. I was depressed as a Black man in this country, watching another Black man be murdered, and it killed me. Every time it happens, it kills me. Every time. And I didn't even know I was depressed until I was given this opportunity to do this work. I was depressed. I'm an eternal optimist, but this had killed me. And I needed this. I needed this for me. I needed this to have my own soul restored, to deliver something to this community. So thank you guys for the time, for the work. I appreciate it. It's been long overdue. And I wanted to bring this community, I wanted this work to bring this community together. And as I listened to you guys, I realized we did that. I hear it. I hear it. I hear you guys. I hear you guys. And that's what I wanted to accomplish at the end of this process. It was tough. I know we started out here, but I wanted us to have the roadmap to come together in the end. So I didn't put myself on the 2-minute timer, I know. But I just wanted to I needed to let that out. And I appreciate you guys giving me this moment and giving me this opportunity. It's been an honor to serve with you guys. And Fresno owes this commission a debt of gratitude for the work that you all did on behalf of this community. So thank you and good night.
Can we have Sandra?
Thanks, Oliver.
Can we have Sandra say something?
A tough act to follow there.
I asked Sandra if she wanted to speak tonight, so.
Sandra?
Well, thank you. I wasn't going to speak tonight. I think Oliver and I we've had a lot of conversations after meetings, in between. And, quite honest, when Oliver called me and asked me to join the commission, I said no. I said, I'm not going to spend my time on something unless it's real. And for me, the work really came from young people. It was young people who shared with us that they were getting pulled over on their way home from school, and they were getting manhandled, and their backpacks were being turned upside down. And I just couldn't imagine being a 12 or a 13-year-old in Fresno and not being able to walk home from school. And And I know that there's good officers. I know that because I've met many of them. And at the same time, though, I know that the system that we currently have doesn't work. It doesn't create safety. It doesn't guarantee safety for officers or people. And so I didn't really want to speak today because I think while I'm really proud of the report and I'm really proud of the recommendations, I still yet have to hear a commitment from the people that have the power in this city to say we are going to do it. Not we are going to do it if, to say we are going to create safety in our community, and we are going to do that by changing the way that we do business, changing the way that we invest in our community, the way that we talk about our young folks, the way that we perceive each other, and the way that we police in our neighborhoods. And so I wanted to withhold my comments because I'm waiting for that day. I'm waiting for that day because I want to celebrate that new Fresno that we all so desperately want and need. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone. I want to say thank you to Oliver for calling me a couple of times and saying, I need you to get on here. And I promise it's going to be real. And you honored your word with me. It is real. You know, I met a lot of folks that I had not met before. I appreciate the conversations and the learnings. And I do have a new sense of hope. I think Oliver and I were talking about this, and that many times in the work that I do, conversations that I have with folks, I can lose a little hope. And this work has given me that hope, that spark, that we are at the cusp of a new Fresno, that we are at the cusp of reimagining public safety in our city. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for young people like D'Angelique who are going to be so much more progressive than I am, and are going to be a lot more bold and courageous. And so I hope that we continue to uplift young people. And I hope that we really commit as a community to see full implementation of these recommendations, to expand them, to go even further, and to really ensure that all Fresnans in every corner of our city thrive. And so I want to just say thank you. Thank you for giving me your vote of confidence by selecting me as your vice chair. I want you to know that I took that position very seriously. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of emotional labor. And I'm just really grateful because it gave me even more love for this city. And I hope that I get to see that new Fresno that we all reimagine. So thank you all.
Thank you, Sandra. All right. That is officially the last word. Thank you all.
Good night, you all. Thank you.
Everybody be safe.
I'm gonna miss y'all.
Miss you too, Dr. Pitts. You my man.
You my man, Brother Mentor. We're gonna get together soon, bro.
That's for sure, man.
Be good, man.
Dr. Pitts,
Right.
when are you gonna give me a tour of your Dr. Pitts, when are you gonna give me a tour of your department?
As soon as I get a tour of the police department.
Come on down. Come on down. I'll give you a tour of the FPOA.
Hey,
all 2 minutes.
Ty, we certainly have to link up, brother. You made some great comments, some great suggestions.